the regular meeting of the School District of River Falls. This meeting has been properly notified, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one community member who would like to address the board this evening. So Cindy Peterson, if you could come forward, please. And if you stand, that microphone will pick you up.
Here?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know I was
You
going
have
to
about
start.
2 minutes.
No pressure. Well, I'd like to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy Peterson. I'm the mother of 2 students here in the River Falls School District. We are kind of here to just share a little bit about my family and our experience. I kind of consider this my exit interview because my last student is graduating high school in 2026. So we've been part of the school district for 16 years. I have Michaela, who is a 23 graduate, and then Mason, who's graduating this year. I just want to take a second to share with the school district just that the value that I hold for all of you, and that you care about these students, that you show up for our family and the rest of the families here in the River Falls School District. My heart's full of gratitude for the last 16 years. I have been a parent and a single parent in the school district and have raised my children myself. And it's not a job that I don't take lightly, and I have not done it alone. I could share story after story of the way our family has been touched by people in the school district and how they've held us up and carried us through. But I wanted to show up today and say, as we are wrapping up our story here in the River Falls School District, I'm grateful, and it's been a wonderful journey for us, and I'm excited for the next step for my family. And please know that you made a difference to us and so many other families, and I just want to share my gratitude, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sim.
I'll say on behalf of the district, you're welcome. And thank you for being a good partner with the district, because it takes our families and it takes the district. So, and thank you for coming and expressing your gratitude. All right, we are going to move into informational items, and because our 2 students have very important AP exams tomorrow and need to get home to study, we are going to move up their reports, and then we have awards for them as well. So, Jada and Ben, what's your last report to us for this year?
As we wind down the school year, I would say I think people are anxious in a good way to be done, and exit gracefully, hopefully. But as a senior and as trying to be the best representative of the class, I've had a lot of time to reflect on how this year has gone and how the school has done great things and how we've learned from our mistakes and how we're trying to figure things out. And I've seen over the past term across the district that there's just been a ton of growth from the beginning of the year when things were fine, but things were unrefined. And now I've had the opportunity of working with an elementary school class and a middle school class for the past term, and I've just seen tons of growth that has been really, it's made me really proud to be part of the district, and I think that just kind of encapsulates what it's like to be part of the River Falls School District. And so I could go on about how the sports teams are doing right now and all that stuff, which, by the way, they're doing very good. But I really just wanted to talk a lot about how I noticed a lot of growth throughout the year and all the positives that I've seen, and how that's really the update, is that as a district and throughout the elementary schools, the middle school, the high school, and all our little branches that we have, we've just grown so much, and we have so much positivity and so much positive energy going into the summer and into the next school year. So it's been awesome working with you guys this year, and I'm really thankful. So.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, to go off of Ben, I feel like this opportunity to be a part of the school board has been really eye-opening. There's a lot of things that happen like behind scenes that a lot of students don't know of, and to be able to talk and like be the student's voice is really big, and I appreciate the opportunity. And yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have both of you with us on these Monday nights. I hope that you've learned a lot, and I hope one of the things that you've learned is that someday you can consider serving your communities on a school board in your elected position. It's important work. So we also, all right.
Sorry you got to hear from me tonight, but it's the way that life goes. We're going to, we got a bunch of Wildcat Pride Awards. We'll start with our 2 student representatives on the school board. I'm going to get these out and just kind of read them real quick. We would like to express our gratitude for your participation as student representatives on the School District of River Falls School Board. You have shown excellent student leadership during your tenure. Your hard work and dedication have been greatly appreciated. On behalf of the school board and the River Falls School District, we congratulate you on your achievement and wish you all the best in future endeavors. So this is Jada Redinzel.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for doing what you did. And Ben Jake.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you.
Please make sure you take your nameplate because they're fabulous in dorm rooms.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Good luck tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be
Thank
great.
you. Do they get to take the holders?
Hey, just take the plate.
It's a good life lesson. You get something. I've been good streak. I haven't stolen.
You're almost on your first. All right. And then we want to recognize the Meyer Middle School musical staff and stage managers. Recognition for their exceptional efforts behind the scenes for the Meyer Middle School production of The Wizard of Oz. So all of you who are, I don't know if you all know who's getting something, but if you do know you're getting something, we'd love to have you up here.
The kids can go.
And we do have some certificates even for the adults as well too. So. Looks like they're kind of all the same, so I'll just read one of them. How you guys doing? Good. Hi. So the school board would like to recognize the staff and the stage managers of the Meyer Middle School's production of The Wizard of Oz. The success of this production is a testament to the tireless work you put in behind the scenes to bring the show to life. We especially want to acknowledge our 3 student stage managers for their incredible leadership. Excuse me. From the first rehearsal, you demonstrated proactive problem-solving skills and planning calendars and addressing issues before they even reach the adults. Your ability to lead a cohesive cast and crew was essential to the harmonious execution of the production. Together with our dedicated musical directors and staff, you have exemplified what true collaboration looks like. On behalf of the school board and the School District of River Falls, we congratulate the entire team on this outstanding achievement. So I've got one for Ezra. Congratulations. And for Maddie Curtis. Congratulations, thank you. Yeah, of course you had to be. I heard that, yeah. And last but not least, Quentin Zuber. Congratulations. Thank you. Others, for the adults that were there. Laura DeShane. Thank you very much. I'm seriously, I'm not trying to butcher names, but I may a little bit. So Maddie Gorey?
Our customer, I'll take it.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, yes. And Kevin Dorn?
I will, I can
Didn't
also
see
take
him. And Bernie Zuber? Tanner Peets?
I will take that.
I'm just gonna buy it. Mayanna Lansing? And JC Walker?
Okay, that's accurate.
know, we know that the musical is one of the things that really sets our district apart. And the fact that you are able to do this with all of the kids who come to you and find a spot for everybody. And kids, thank you for your leadership. My guess is that you learned a lot about what it means to be a leader and a problem solver, and those things are going to be great. And I'm pretty sure that the people at the high school are going to be really glad when you get there too. Yeah.
All right, well, I just have one last one. This one is, we are recognizing Rocky Branch Kids Club lead Claire Duke, all right. Hi Claire, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, we're gonna switch sides, I like it. Why not? Mix things up a little bit, right? Yeah, right there's perfect, all right. The school board would like to express our sincere gratitude for your dedication as a lead staff member of Rocky Branch Kids Club. Your professionalism and creativity shone brightly during the recent Kids Club Talent Show. By organizing such a thoughtful, student-driven event featuring everything from puppet shows to students' MCs, you provide a fantastic platform for our students to showcase their talents. Your hard work and commitment to the success of our program are greatly appreciated. On behalf of the school board and the school district of River Falls, we congratulate you on this achievement and thank you for your dedication to your students.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Claire's supervisor, and I just wanted to say an example of who Claire is. Claire graduated last weekend. She lives over 2.5 hours away. She drove back specifically for this because it's the kind of commitment she shows. She's been with me since a freshman, and I've been doing this a long time and have had a lot of staff, and every once in a while you get someone that is just, I cannot replace her, and I could cry right now, and I will after I leave here to say goodbye to her, because I've been waiting until now to say goodbye to her, but she's absolutely amazing. She's empathetic, she's caring, she stays at late every single day, every minute before she had to go to class to make sure everything was buttoned up, and calling me and texting me and emailing me, making sure that all the kids are safe. I mean, she's just exemplary, and I just wish her well in the future.
I hope that you just graduated with an education degree. All right, keep track of that and everything. Okay, good. We've had, thank you to everybody for that. The next thing on our agenda is the spotlight, and this will be on safety patrol. So, it is not rude to leave.
All right. Amanda, do you have our slides?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I have the clicker.
Just lost in the moment.
It's a lot going on today.
It's off. Now it's on. There we go. All right, so I'm Kate Scapel. I'm the principal at Greenwood. This really is a joint for all of us who have elementary schools, but I brought people, so I get to be up here. So I'm Kate, I'm the principal at Greenwood, and I brought with me
Barb Van Morlehem, fourth grade teacher, but also patrol supervisor.
and
Lily Ballard. I'm one of the lieutenants at Greenwood.
So, they are going to talk a little bit about what safety patrol is. Let me give you a little bit of a summary. All of our fifth grade students serve as patrols. And so we find a job for every single fifth grader based on if they ride the bus, what job is best for them. If they walk home, what's the best job for them. If they're parent pickup. So if you see like 4 to 5 cars waiting in line at the end of my driveway at the end of the day, those are the patrol parents waiting for their kids to get done. Move forward. Right. So all of our fifth graders do serve as safety patrol. So I will let Mrs. Van and Lily tell you about what our patrol jobs are.
All right, well, we have a variety of patrol jobs. Like Ms. Scapel said, we get something for everybody, so everybody partakes. And we start with street patrols are probably the most obvious to the community because they're the ones out on the streets helping kids get across the street safely. Bus line patrols, making sure those little ones don't get in front of the buses because, like I tell them, we don't want to send home squished children. Parents would not like that, so they help.
We haven't.
We have not. It's all safe. Building patrols, they have different various jobs throughout that, classrooms. Lunchroom helpers, different things like that. Yeah. And then, other school duties, door patrols, different, sometimes even our special education students have jobs, and sometimes that's helping with recycling or different things like that. So we find a job for everyone.
Yeah, at Greenwood, for other school duties, we do have some fifth graders that come in during their recess, part of their recess, to help the kindergartners wipe down their tables, put their books away, and get back to their classrooms. So we find something either within the day or beginning or end of day for everybody to do. So.
Yeah, and there's a few differences between schools based on building layout or different things like that. But overall, the gist is the same.
Any others that I missed, ladies? No? All right, moving on.
All right. So street patrols, this is a big one. The students have to be there by 8:20 or on the street by 8:20, 8:25-ish. To help get those kids coming to school safely. So they are all trained, like I personally train all of my street patrols at Greenwood. I know some parents are a little nervous, like, oh my gosh, I gotta put my kid on the street. But they are trained, they are taught how to do it safely. And I think that gives everybody a sense of calm. Were you a little nervous the first time? You did it as well. And Lily is one of my lieutenants, and she rides the bus a lot, so her area is basically kind of the bus area, but she has also stepped up and done some of the captain duties when all three of my captains are busy. Lily, I need somebody to sub for captain, and so she also does the street patrols, so she's done a variety of positions. But yeah, those people make sure it's...
And she's parent pickup, so she can stay as late as we want. Right?
And all big thanks to parents, especially if their kids are street patrols, because they got to be here early, they stay late, they're not, all of that kind of thing. So,
even when there's a concert, they have to stay.
Even when there's a concert, which really is hard for some of them, because they just want to take them and go.
They have to stay.
They're responsible, they stay, they do their job, and that helps us a great deal.
Yeah. Bus patrols, do you want to talk about what bus patrols do?
Sure.
Okay.
So
if that's your area.
Yeah. They stand in front of the bus, make sure the kids are not messing around, make sure they're safe, like you said, not going in the streets by the buses.
And they pick them up from their classroom, right?
Yes.
Well, there's bus lines, and then there's the classroom patrols also that walk them
out
to the buses. So,
Yeah.
and Lily's kind of in charge of kind of that area, making sure the patrols are doing the job, making sure that the kids are being safe kind of all around. So, yeah, basically help monitor everything.
Yeah.
I think we got it all there. Building patrols, we talked before, we have classroom patrols. So at Greenwood, we have the buses on one side, we have parent pickup on this side. So we have two different bells, and so the bus patrols go out, and the patrols will go to the classrooms and walk the little kids out so that the teachers can bring the kids to the parent pickup side. So we've got them kind of taking the buses, and then the parents can, or the teachers can get their other younger kids out front here where they get picked up. So it's a balancing act of making sure everybody's in the right place. And so our classroom patrols play a big role there in getting those kiddos out to the buses.
And our door patrols are at the main doors, and kids need to come in for breakfast, they let them in, but if any adults try to come in, they're directed into the office. So, because the kids need to get in for breakfast, but we can't have the doors just sitting unlocked. So our patrols are the ones, if they see an adult, they wave to them to go in the office, so they're not coming into the building. It's a busy, chaotic time here, so.
Busy. Yeah, they've been trained that if they don't see
They
a
open the door for
badge,
me though.
if they recognize a staff member that works in the building, they know they're allowed to let them in, but, if someone else shows up off the street, maybe Miss Mater shows up, and they're like.
Not gonna know
who she is, they're not letting her in, type of thing, so they're trained with all of that as well.
Yeah.
So, other things we said, kindergarten lunch helpers, some playground cleanup crews, milk delivery at some of the schools, 4K, we don't have 4K at Greenwood, but at Rocky, right?
I'm assuming they help with that?
So, So, like I said, lots of different places for them to work out, and the police department is nice, works with us, and then they give the kids a couple of rewards during the year to go to a movie, and then an end of the year picnic, which the kids all really enjoy.
Yeah.
So, do you want to, and what's your favorite part of?
Yeah, what's your favorite part as a lieutenant of being a patrol, Lily?
I like how much responsibility is on me, and that I'm trusted to do my job right. And personally, I think I do. But
She for sure does.
100%.
yeah, I think it's a very fun job to do as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, she's also parent pickup for, so she helps me out even when our captains, you know, because I do have one captain that rides the bus. He's brought in on his patrol week, but then he's usually busing, so I'm like, sometimes I'm just out of captains, and Lily's been able to step up for me and help out there as well and take care of that job.
How do you select a captain?
At Greenwood, I kind of poll the fourth grade teachers, the playground paraprofessionals, Mrs. Scapple, the office people, anybody that basically kind of runs into these kids in their fourth grade year. And then they kind of give me highlighted kids of who they think are those kids that can step up, who can be responsible, who can do their best work. And then next fall, I'll meet with the fifth grade teachers who have these kids and say, okay, here are the ones that are recommended. Who are you thinking from what you see so far this year? So we do it a lot on staff recommendation at Greenwood. I think some of the other, is it all staff recommend, or is it some kids vote too?
Can kids self-nominate? Can they say, hey, I want to be a captain?
They can, they can, and I take that into account, I add them to the list and kind of, kind of watch them and try to play it out. Sometimes it's about how they get to and from school, because for me, I have my captains are the street patrol captains, and then lieutenants are by the buses. So if they're a busser and they're chosen to be one of those high, they're gonna end up being a lieutenant just because of how they get to and from school. Whereas somebody who is more flexible can be on the streets.
And at each school, that could be very different. Our patrol advisors are really in charge of that, and they do a really nice job of working with the teachers and the students to figure out what keeps our kids in our building safe and under control at those busy
Don't
times.
take lightly that it's a gigantic jigsaw puzzle.
Yes.
Our patrol supervisors
Yes.
are putting together.
Yes.
It's a ton of work, and you're training
Yes.
kids every single year. So.
And I'm sure yours are the same way. Mrs. Van takes it very seriously. Very seriously.
Very
She gets a list from the fifth grade teachers from the fifth grade students every morning of who's not here to backfill those positions at the end of the day, things like that. And she's done a fantastic job. And how long have you been the patrol
I was thinking about
advisor?
that, it's 6 or 7 years since whenever Marcia Ferris, like the year before she retired, she handed the ropes over to me and said, here you go, take it. And then, so I've had it since then. Part of the captain lieutenant's job is to get me a note every day about, all right, who's gone in your class, who's leaving early, so then I get those notes, so then I can fill the most important, I guess, maybe, so to speak, I gotta get those street positions filled, make sure kindergarten has more patrols. Sometimes we have to pull from fourth grade, just because we have so many kids out, fourth
And then it
graders,
rains.
And then it rains.
And we have a whole separate plan.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think the main idea here is, it's a big job. We have really great responsible fifth graders who are stepping up to help us with it, and they do a wonderful job keeping our kids safe.
What percentage of your fifth graders are on the patrol?
All of them.
Every fifth grader.
Good.
Not every fifth grader does street patrol, like I
Yes.
said, because
Various jobs.
they have to be here or out on the streets before most of the buses get here. So we just can't put them on the street because they just aren't here in time.
This is the kind of thing we love to hear about as board members, because often our attention is on what's going on during the day. And it's just so important for us to realize how they get here and how they leave. And it's always struck me as how critical it is. We have well over 1,000 elementary kids. We've got to get through the streets, around the buses, in the buildings, all this sort of thing, every day, and it works. And I think it works so well, we take it for granted, I think. And I really appreciate, I think we all really appreciate what it is you do, and the fact that we also engage our students in leadership positions. That gives them an opportunity to see how important this is to grow, and the support that they're getting to do this. But also just the fact that with all these hundreds of cars, parents dropping their kids off, and these big school buses coming and going, and kids being kids and all that, kudos to what you do every day, and so glad you get them here safely and get them out of it safely.
And someday we invite you to run for school board.
I was gonna say, hopefully she was watching over here, because you might see her again. Yeah.
But first, Lily, I think you are ready to go to middle school. And I think
First things first.
your responsibility and the trustworthiness that the adults in your school are showing in you really shows your maturity. I think you're going to have fun in middle school. But thank you for your work as a patrol. We really appreciate it.
Lily also does our morning announcements.
Okay.
So
All
she's
right.
also, she helps prepare the slides for our morning announcements and then comes in every other week to do announcements. So Lily's a well-known face and leader at Greenwood.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Van Tu. Thank you. All right, well, it's the most enjoyable part of our meeting, probably.
Wait, it's the superintendent's report, isn't it?
Not yet, gotta hold off.
Oh, wait.
So we have a WIG update,
There were
elementary.
5.
One just left, so.
And I think she was always a mistake. She even took the clicker with her. Hi, everyone. I think Kate is coming back. I think she's just taking a picture with her patrol.
Yeah.
You want to say hi? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Introduce for the microphone.
I'm Ashley Bingenheimer, principal at Rocky Branch.
Rachel Vader, principal at Westside. We are short kind tonight. She has a family engagement with her daughter, so we're gonna walk through everything. Is Kate the first slide?
She is the first slide.
Okay.
All right, song and dance.
Well, you have not heard our wig yet, so I'm sure this is all brand new riveting information, but I'll remind you of our wig in lieu of Kate right now. Our elementary wildly important goal for the last 2 years is that 100% of our students are proficient or exceed their yearly growth goal in foundational reading skills as measured by our Ames Web Reading Assessment by next spring. So today we're going to report, we have our spring benchmarking data and we're excited to show you some of the celebration that we have there. Is this also okay?
This is my,
Hey,
I'm sorry.
there we go, and now she's here and ready to go.
My apologies. All right, let's see. Committing to our lead measures. So we have our 4 kind of strategies that we committed to throughout this school year. One of them was to continue looking and talking about the top 10 tool science of reading training. So all of our staff members, K through 3, were required to take top 10 tools training. Our coaches this year have been bringing in those trainings into their coaching into a couple of staff meetings where we were able to. I know at Greenwood we did it during an in-service. I know you did it during some staff meetings, whatnot. And then we also collectively had all of our K-5 paraprofessionals as well as certified staff attend a speaker on the signs and symptoms of dyslexia from the Minnesota Reading Center. So that was what we had done throughout this year on the continuation of the training. I think we'll continue to kind of plop those strategies throughout our training. One nice part about that is because K through 3 were required to do it, by bringing it in with our coaches, our 4th and 5th grade teachers are seeing it as well. And it, especially within their vocabulary and word study instruction, are able to kind of link back to what our K3 teachers are doing. Then implementation and monitoring of collective commitments. So we had collective commitments that we talked about at the beginning of the year during in-service. We had 2 meeting dates in, I think, October and April. Yes, February, where our teams all met together virtually. So all the kindergarten teachers were on a Google Meet, all the 1st grade teachers, etc. And they were able to check in on those collective commitments. How is small group reading going? How is using your mastery tests going? And how are kids performing? Do we need to do any more in that area? Or what's good and we can move forward? And looking at how we can continue that level of collaboration throughout the year next year. AimsWeb, we continued our use of AimsWeb, added on grades 4 and 5 this year. So we were K5 with AimsWeb. Really kind of just dipping our toes into the reporting features and also bringing in NextPath, which was another data warehouse system that our data is now all put into, and we're now kind of learning how we can better use that system to provide flags. It made Act 20 requirements more seamless than we had in the past with EduClimber. So I will say, as we went into our Act 20 dashboard on NextPath, it was easy for a teacher to be like, oh, I have these 2 kids who need a reading plan, let's create that and move forward, so that we could spend the bulk of our time talking about, now what do we do? this kiddo needs a reading plan, what are we gonna do about that? And then we used the student growth percentile as our growth measure. I think if you remember, we talked about how there were some limitations around how Ames Web measures growth. So we decided to use our student growth percentile. So where does a student fall within the percentile of growth? So if a student was in the 55th percentile for growth, they made at least a year's worth of growth, maybe a little bit more. And then intervention support and planning, communicating in 4th and 5th grade. We have reading plans in K3, which is a requirement of Act 20. We're pretty solid there because we did it last year. Grades 4 and 5 really working on how we communicate with families what we're doing with their student if they're still not reading at grade level. And I think next year we'll have that really solidly in place. This year we tried a couple of different things. And then a data dig process with our teams to talk about the data that we have, come up with plans, work with teachers and paras on what it is that they're doing with students during that time where we all kind of descend upon the students and take them to get what they need. So those are kind of our main strategies that we...
I'll just say in addition to this, we showed you in the winter and didn't feel like we needed to be redundant, but our teachers also have lead measures, and so we've used our building leadership team meetings to have each of our grade level leads kind of report out through the year how those have gone. So we didn't want to show you the statements you had already seen, but that's been something that's been really helpful for us too, is to have that cadence of accountability for teachers, just like we have here.
Yeah, and they all fall within those areas as well. So,
So this is our data that we wanted to put in front of you based solely on this year. The next slide we'll get a little bit into cohort data. We felt like we were starting to get to see some trend lines and wanted to share that with you as well. If you remember, part of what's been challenging for us as a team with Act 20 is it's felt a little bit like a moving target. This year the norms changed in some of our grade levels and how the composite score was tabulated, so we're continuing to adapt and reflect with teams. I think the thing that's been really nice about the consistency of this goal is that we're always pushing for growth and proficiency regardless of what that target number is. So at the end of the year, we had most of our grade levels within 90% of our students either hitting the goal of proficiency or exceeding their growth goal. Second grade was our lowest, and we had some conversations about, as a team, just about the wide range of growth that we expect for readers in second grade. So continuing to work with those teams to keep seeing that number move. We were excited to see the celebration in second grade, though, that 9 of the students who weren't proficient exceeded their yearly growth. So for us, that feels like just as big of a celebration as proficiency because we're slowly closing that gap. With the data, we thought it would be helpful. It's really easy to say, oh, they're only at 87% meeting or proficient or exceeding the goal, but we thought it'd be really nice to look at how are those second graders doing in first grade, and this was good information for us to kind of peek at. So you'll see the color bands kind of travel up for the grade levels, but if I remember right, in all of our grade levels, we're seeing that percentage continue to grow, which is obviously our goal. We're really aiming for that 100%, not just in theory, but in practice. And so to see us go from 75% to 92% for our 4th to 5th graders feels like a really big celebration of the system doing what we're hoping it does. So.
And I like the clarity of the goal. Like, even though the target has been moving, I think for teachers too, it's just like a really easy conversation point to always circle back to. So during PLCs, if they don't maybe have a specific assessment they're looking at, it's really easy to just tie back to this conversation and do kind of a check-in on their lead measures and where it's moving the data. It's just like provided some, I think, like streamlined clarity for where our conversations could go. It's been really nice. And then the last part is just kind of responding to our lag data and obstacles that we continue to have in the back of our mind, especially moving into summer. So one challenge had been that Next Path was new after just getting comfortable with EduClimber, but we love it. And so this summer we have some meetings scheduled already, but just like building our capacity in it and then being able to help teachers in the fall. There's some stuff that you can pre-build and then just kind of update throughout the year. So using our time this summer to get some of those systems ready to go, take a little bit of the load off teachers, but have that data ready for them to look at.
So they can use it on a regular basis,
yes.
Not just when we have data digs.
Yep. And then the promotion policy and then the 4th and 5th grade reading plans. We've kind of dabbled with the beginning of reading plans for 4th and 5th grade, but didn't fully roll them out. So we would like to integrate that kind of prior to that 2027 promotion policy fully going into effect.
Especially just because next year's 4th graders, in theory, we wouldn't have to do anything with, but we recognize for the parent perspective there, if
Yeah.
here's a student who needs a reading plan in 3rd grade, and then our version of that in 5th grade, that feels like a really odd gap. So we're
Yeah.
just trying to make sure a big piece of this has been that communication and collaboration with families, and so using really purposeful practices with 4th and 5th grade next year so that we can have some trial before that policy is in play, just
Yes.
to make sure we all feel well-versed in it.
Yeah,
before we-
and then that's the next part too, is right now, 2nd and 3rd grade solely focus on fluency. That's what our reading plans are based off of.
Which is decided by the state.
Which is decided by the state. And right now, we continue that for 4th and 5th, but it sometimes feels like the composite is more, a better tool to measure for 4th and 5th grade. So that's a conversation, and then if we do say that 4th and 5th grade, we're gonna base our reading plans on the composite score, then that is another communication piece for parents that maybe they were on a reading plan for fluency but don't need one for composite, or they've never been on a reading plan but now they need one in 4th grade because they have a lower composite score. So it's just another piece that we need to navigate. And then managing the whirlwind, so we'll have a new math implementation in the fall, and we'll just plan around pre-planning staff meetings and our in-service days to give them time to feel like they can live in both worlds. And
Yeah, we have some staff members who are pretty passionate that this wig should just go away.
Yeah.
And it should be a math wig next year. So trying to bridge that gap to say and, not
Yeah.
but. That feels really important. I think that's what it is all. Yeah, do you have any questions for us?
This is really a big deal. This is really a big deal for us, which is part of the reason. I mean, you've talked to us before about this and what you're doing with this and the goal for this, and we've talked about how important it is. As you maybe you saw, New York Times had a front page article on this where you could drill down to every school districts in the country, including us, and begin to compare reading proficiency. And unfortunately, this often gets translated in, if they're not proficient, they can't read. And that's read in the articles and all that. On a side, perception is the ultimate form of reality, right? And so, given the fact that the vast majority of people in almost every community don't have kids in school, the most basic thing they want their tax dollars to go to, can my kids read and can they do math, okay? And if we can't do that, then what are we doing with our kids? That's the external reality that goes all around your whirlwind and all the kinds of things that are going on here. But it's absolute, because it's a huge challenge right now nationally, and we're doing a lot better than everybody else. But just because we're ahead of a whole bunch of other people doesn't necessarily mean where we're at. That's why I like the 100% goal, and I hope you can keep your folks on it, because, and you're measuring it. The one thing I'm not hearing yet, though, is, because you said you're going all the way through 5th grade and you want to see how they're doing in 5th grade. As a board, I think we're really interested in how they're doing it now, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way through high school, and that. And is there that kind of connection? Can we find that monitoring? Because one of the things I always worry about is whether or not there's a difference between subject mastery and subject retention. And there should be, and there usually is, but I'm not always sure that there is, that students can learn for the moment, but then it has that, I call it the Teflon effect, and it just skips. So anyway, I want to say that just because from our standpoint, this is really, really a big deal, and we really appreciate the work that you're doing in it, but it is so important.
One celebration that we didn't highlight is that at least one team from all of our schools has had, at some point, 100%.
Oh, great.
So either 100% proficient or 100% when you combine proficiency and growth. These are average scores between our buildings, but that's happened across the board, which was super exciting too. So that makes it feel attainable when teams see that and they're like, oh, it can happen. So that just helps motivate also, which is great.
Well, I think to your point too, Ellen, we're finally at a point where, while we maybe don't love AIMS, I think we would all say we're proficient in understanding the tool. And so part of what's nice in 3rd grade is we look at the overlap between Forward and AIMS. And I think the more that we're comfortable with that tool, the more we can have conversations with the middle school to say, how does this proficiency travel up, right? Because we can see it in different ways in our buildings, but I think that kind of cross-hatching and vertical alignment will be really important the more that we gain familiarity with all of this work.
It's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you both for your work and for the way that you put together the presentation. It was really nice to be able to see that data in a way that made sense to us. And it's also exciting to be able to see the progression toward accomplishing your goals.
Yeah.
So it means our kids are really working hard in that translates into teachers and administrators who are working hard to help them do that. So thank you very much, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good work.
Okay, superintendent report.
Yes. Give me my clicker. It's over there. I'll grab it. No, you grab it. I actually have a little help for the first part of my report. So.
Making you get your steps in.
Got a long way to go on. All right, so my report, the subject of my report is how to fill a school board vacancy. Before we get to how to fill a school board vacancy, I think we need to take a moment to recognize why we're going to have a vacancy. And so I'm going to have a little help from our school board president in recognizing Allison. So Allison, you need to
So we're going to
get
go up
up
there.
to the front.
You don't have to do this.
We felt that it was important. So with that, I'll turn it over to Stacy.
I feel like I just got here.
Well, Allison, tonight it's our pleasure to thank you for your service. You were first elected in 1985 as a very young one to do this, and you served at that point for 17 years, 13 of them as the board chair, before then resigning and moving on to new adventures. Most recently, you've served for 3 years, bringing the grand total of your school board service in River Falls to 20 years, earning you this wonderful plaque. You probably want to see it. I will pass on to you in a moment. Your school board service has reflected your own personal core values, values of assume goodness, choose joy, and proceed with grace, honorable and very constructive values. You have a considerable reservoir of knowledge and experience that you have shared with the board as we've made decisions.
Even when you didn't want it.
And you've contributed to the board's culture of collaboration and trust, so thank you for that. One doesn't need to spend very much time with you to know that you deeply, deeply care about children and education and service to the community. So thank you for sharing your talents and your presence with the board. Thank you. So, here. I was in the mayor's office.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right where I'll put it.
Yes.
Stacy, turn around and let Mark get a picture of both of you with the certificate. There you go.
There you go. All right, yep. And I would just like to say, I feel a little bit bad leaving the board, but I also know that I can actually, my rationalization is that I can actually advocate for public education almost better from the mayor's office. And so even though I won't be sitting here, I will be advocating for public education wherever I'm sitting. So you can count on me.
Allison, thank you. It's been really awesome for me moving into this role to have both your perspective and your passion for River Falls and for public education. So, and that perspective and history is something that we'll miss. But
If you ever want to know what happened 40 years ago, you just text me.
That's right. And so you are on the board tonight.
Yep.
And so you have to sit through the whole meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
However,
I'm done at midnight.
That's right. Then we roll over, and once we have a vacancy, then we have a duty. The remaining board has a duty to fill that vacancy, and we have some pretty well-defined policy. And fortunately, actually, this board went through an update of the policies that address this in the last year. So it should be not unfamiliar territory because we have been chatting about it. So. When a vacancy occurs, the remaining members are responsible to appoint that new member, and that responsibility is tasked by a majority vote. So when we get to the point, and I'll go through the whole timeline, that's a piece that has to be there. It's a majority vote of the remaining board members. So we have to post the vacancy, and the submission of an initial candidate questionnaire interviews and selection of a replacement for the vacant school board seat will be completed as soon as possible, but no later than 60 days. So if we get to the point where it's been 60 days, then there's another part of the policy that would have to be kicked in. I don't anticipate, I think when I lay out the timeline, I don't anticipate that we can't get this done in 60 days. So, and then the one clarification, I think most of the people here know that, but just so if people are following along, the appointee, whoever fills Allison's space, will fill it until the next school board election, which is in April of 2027. Allison was elected, that was a 3-year term. The appointee only serves until the next school board meeting, or excuse me, the next school board election, and then at that point, Allison's seat, for the remaining 2 years of Allison's seat is part of the election as well. Any questions on that? All right, so we were made aware of this, so we've been working to create the posting, and that vacancy will be published in the Star Observer and the Pierce Kearney Journal for 2 consecutive weeks. Anybody who's interested in filling the vacancy must submit a letter of interest to the school board president. And in addition to that letter of interest, they are asked to complete a questionnaire. And anybody who wants to have a copy of that questionnaire, all they have to do is contact the office via email, phone, or come in person, and a copy of that questionnaire can be provided. And so if you're somebody who is interested in filling the vacancy, you submit the letter of interest, and you submit the questionnaire. And we'll talk about when that deadline, that tentative deadline will be. And so based on policy, the questionnaire focuses on background and experiences related to qualifications, prior involvement in public service, interest in serving on the board, and understanding of the River Falls community and the role of the school board. So our policy does give us an out if we have one or no applicants received by the deadline. The president can direct the superintendent to reissue the solicitation of interest. So that's an option that we have. Obviously, we have 0. That's an option that we probably take. If we have 1, we can choose to, but we are not required to extend it.
So to be clear, next year, April, the person who gets elected will run for re-election, has a chance to, right?
May.
And there'll be 4 spots available. The bottom, the top 3 vote getters would have a 3-year term.
Yep.
The 4th person, whoever that is, could be an existing board member, could be
Correct.
whoever, would then serve the final 2 years and then be up for re-election in 2 years.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep, that's
That's a
exactly.
good point.
Yep.
And then we'll be back on the same rotation.
So we'll be back on that cycle. Yep. So on or before the date of the board meeting in which the board considers the potential appointee, anyone who is applying has to make a declaration that they're eligible, which essentially means they meet the age requirements and they meet the
Live in the school.
residency requirements is probably the biggest piece. So at a special board meeting, the remaining school board members will interview the candidates. And that's an open session meeting, and interviews will be based on a prepared set of interview questions that are established by the school board president and superintendent. Each of the remaining school board members, if they have some feedback on what, given the context of where we are now, please contact Stacy or me, and we will develop that. Those interview questions are not provided in advance, right? So the questionnaire is something that the person can sit down and go through and really consider, but then the questions that are a part of that interview process are on the spot, essentially, but they are equitable between the candidates. And on policy, that's position, role, functions of an effective board, district strengths, district challenges. And then the board will select the candidate, and this is right from policy. At the conclusion of the interviews, weighted ballots will be used in the voting procedure. So the first ballot, if we had 4 people, there would be a ranking order of those 4, and the second ballot, a ranking order of the 3, and so on and so forth, until we have a majority vote. So one scenario is you could have a majority vote on the first one. Everybody picks candidate A as number 1, and then that ends. If you don't have that, then we would move on to successive votes in rank order until we have a majority vote. So that's that process. And then the big piece here is this is what we're calling the tentative timeline, and where it's subject to changes if in the number of applicants. So we will have the first notice published in this week's papers, and then the second notice will be in next week's papers. And then the tentative deadline would be June 11th, and then we would, from there, decide if it needs to be extended or not. In addition to the publishing requirements, we will get it on our school website, and we will also have it a social media post about it as well. So if anybody has questions, all that information is either in the publishing or in those notices on the website or social media.
And
And-
David, would it be helpful, can we get this in a PDF?
Yep.
So we could forward it to people?
You bet. It would be part of the packet, but
Oh,
I
it
can
is?
definitely,
Okay.
but I can definitely share that, or have Amanda share that.
The attachment on there is a
Yep.
PDF, you can download it.
And then, so the plan would be June 22nd for the special board meeting to interview candidates. Now, that was going to be our board retreat, and so we know that we have the majority, I think almost all of the remaining board members there, except one. And so we think that on that timeline makes the most sense to have our special meeting there. And then what we would recommend is move the board retreat, which was supposed to be on June 22nd, to July 20th. And that would be prior to the school board meeting. If that all comes together exactly how we want, then we could potentially have all 7 of the school board members present for the board retreat before the full board meeting. We think the new appointee, it would be nice to have them at the retreat. So that's the plan. Are there questions from the board on that?
Dave, so then we would interview the candidates on the 22nd of June and vote on the 22nd of June?
That's correct.
Vote.
Yep.
So the decision would be made on the 22nd
Yep.
of June?
That's correct.
And then that person would become an official board member that night?
That's right.
Well, after signing the
We'll
oath
have
of
to
office.
swear.
Okay, but everything would, so from the 22nd on?
That's right.
That person would be a board member?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, so there would be committee meetings prior to July 20th, and that person could participate in those as well.
And anyone who completes a questionnaire and is declared eligible officially will be granted an interview, correct? There will be no.
Well, not necessarily.
Right.
The policy allows us, if it's 7 or more, or over 7,
Yep.
that Dave and I choose which ones to do.
To narrow it down to 7.
Over 7.
Okay, thank you.
Will you remind me of the eligibility requirements, other than living in the district, is there any other eligibility requirement that people need to meet?
Yeah, I have in my head 18, but we can double check that.
Basically, you have to be an adult and you have to live in the
Yeah,
district.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a high school student once who, Max Newhouse, who ran for school board.
I know Max.
Yeah.
I did know that.
Yep.
Was he over 18?
Yeah, he was over 18.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, maybe
Get
cover it
Max,
again.
yeah, I'll give him a call.
Yeah, right.
Are there any restrictions on criminal history or those kinds of things?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Alan, you're on.
So what are the chances?
I'm asking for somebody else.
Allison, what are the chances that we'll find somebody that changed the diapers of 2 of the board members?
We're gonna have to, I would
That
not
is
put
not a,
that in the
that is not a
You've changed-
requirement.
You've changed.
It's good to know.
You've
Good
changed
to
more
know.
of our board members' diapers
I
than
know.
the city council. board
Isn't that
members.
funny?
Just 1, 2 to 1, we win.
That's right, just one on the city council.
All right, moving on.
Wow. Yeah. Is this on TV?
Are there any questions on that process? And if there are, and again, I recommend if you have some ideas for interview questions, now would be the time to.
Or
reach
candidates,
out.
reach out to them and.
Correct. Yep. And it's nice that everyone here has an awareness of the process and can direct those questions
Yeah.
to me or to Amanda, or now kind of has a working knowledge of the process too. So. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move on to the action agenda. Before the board this evening, on the consent agenda, we have minutes from the April 20th regular school board meeting. We have minutes from the April 27th reorganizational school board meeting. We also have bills that have been submitted for payment, recommendations regarding employment, and then a series of second readings of Neola policies, as well as a series of first readings of new Neola policies. Would any board member like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Then is there a motion to present all items 1 through 6 as I outlined in the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Monica. All those in favor? Aye. The motion is carried 7-0. All right. In front of the board tonight, we have a brief update about the Policy Ad Hoc Committee. We just approved in the consent agenda the things, the items that we talked about at the May 4th meeting. This is on here to remind us that we intentionally tabled three policies during that meeting. Regarding post-insurance tax exempt bond compliance, the procurement of federal grants and funds, and then accountability and oversight of fundraising disbursements were all tabled for a later date because we're going to look at them more comprehensively. So that's just an update for us. And then we'll move on to finance and facilities.
All right, for the finance and facility meeting, the first thing we talked about was the budget. There wasn't a whole lot to go off of. We discussed at that time what would hope to have been a budget pass in Madison, in which the school districts would have received a pretty substantial amount of money to help with their funding, $300 million in special ed funding plus an additional $300 million in state tax aid that unfortunately was voted down by the Senate, and so we will not be getting that. So that was the majority of our discussion. We talked, Lynette likes to pull out a few things and kind of a few things from each budget and just kind of talk through a few different things that maybe we don't talk about every month. One was, this one we talked about the mobile home tax. We have $13,000 budgeted this year for mobile home tax, and those are taxes that are paid by folks that live in the trailer court in town. So we also talked a little bit about the bad debt under Food Service Fund 50. We have about $6,000 in bad debt, in which is transferred from the general fund to make up for that, and those would be for families that have entered into bankruptcy or they now qualify for free and reduced lunch, those kinds of things. So everything else is on track with our budget, and so everything's looking good there. And the other item we talked about, actually we tabled, was talking about the food service meal prices. We've traditionally done that at this time of year, and there's no reason we need to before we know what we're going to be getting from the federal government as far as subsidies for the food program. So we've tabled that until I think July we talked about, right? July or August, to set the prices for next year.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Neither one of those were items that we needed to take action on, and so that was our meeting.
All right, thank you.
I want to pick up on that comment about the bill in the legislature that was just defeated. This was a major initiative in the state. We talked about it in the committee meeting to make up for funding that the state had promised us this year, and they're falling short. And this is very unusual. There was a strong bipartisan compromise. The Democratic governor, the Republican Speaker of the House, the Republican Senate Majority Leader agreed on a deal that would not only address school issues, but tax rebates and some other things like that out there. This would have been very important, not only to this school district, but it would have been important to hundreds of other school districts across the state. The state has over a $2 billion surplus. This was a year that we could afford to do it. This was a year that would help pre-K through 12 education, public education, all across the state. And it was defeated. It was a bipartisan compromise that went forward, and it was significant, powerful forces from both parties that defeated it. And that's the irony in it. And I think that it's important, and I want to single it out at a public board meeting, and anybody who's watching this, to know that this is like a significant thing. And in my mind, I don't typically talk about this at the meetings, but in my mind, this is one more example of how local government, especially schools, we often get held hostage by the partisan politics on both parties in Madison. And this is one that's going to set us back for at least a year or more before anything can probably happen. There's nothing, doesn't seem to be anything on the horizon that this might come back again over the next few months. There's an election in November, and everybody seems to be focused on that right now. So this was not just disappointing. I think this is going to impact our kids in this district and districts all across the state and communities all across the state, and it's extremely disappointing that this did not pass.
Alan, what was the rationale?
What's the rationale?
The rationale for
politics.
voting it.
It's politics,
Right.
both parties that were opposed to this want to see that surplus next year because they're banking on winning in the fall, and they'll have the surplus to deal with.
They want the surplus next year.
They want the surplus.
One
That's
thing I
my,
had
that's,
read that was that the way the money was being given to the districts created a structural deficit, rather than, I mean, it's good to have the money, but that the way the money was being distributed created a structural
For
deficit.
the state?
No, for schools.
districts.
The way you would receive the money, no?
No way.
I think that there was.
Maybe for the state, but there's no way it would be a structural
Structural
deficit.
deficit for you, the way it was coming in
No.
tax rebate versus, okay.
There,
That I'm aware of, that was never part of the conversation until it died.
I just read it in an article.
there's, I tell you, the spin machines have been going like windmills out there all the way around on this. It's just, it's really kind of dizzying. There's all kinds of reasons to find fault with this compromise, but it's the nature of compromise. When you have divided government, the only way we're gonna advance stuff, unless, and this is unfortunate right now, we're in a really winner-take-all attitude, you know?
Yeah.
It's either one party or the other party, and you got it all or not all. And so that's why it was such a big deal that we had this compromise. The nature of compromise is that nobody gets everything, and there's always reasons to pick at it. So my take on it is that there was politics. That's simply my opinion. But I've been following this fairly closely and watching the post stuff. This was just disappointing. I think it's important for people to know in our community here that there's gonna be some relief. We will do our best to get through this. We're gonna balance our budget. We're gonna get through this. We got great staff who will get us through. It is just really disappointing that something as fundamentally American as compromise, it's how this country was founded, just can't work right now in the system. So we'll see what happens next year, but in the meantime, Lynette and others will make sure that we're balanced for the rest of the year.
I would just say, it addressed, the potential bill addressed some realities that we've been talking about for a long time. It addressed the reality of special education reimbursement, what was in the initial budget bill versus what was being, what we were seeing in actuality. They were infusing money to sort of keep their promise from that budget and actually extend their promise to a higher percentage of reimbursement, which I feel was a real positive piece. Is it gonna change the entire structural formula? No, but it was a ability to address something that was a reality that we've been talking a lot about. And the other reality that we talked a lot about was when we set our revenue limit and there was no state aid with it, that was all on the back of our property tax increases. So now they were, this compromise was able to address that. Now, the reality is that's not more money for the district to spend, but it addressed the issue that we had been talking quite a bit about, which was.
Of real estate tax.
Yes.
Anybody that opened their tax bill that had a sticker shock, they would have seen some relief with that state aid that is now.
And again, I don't want to get into anything
Okay.
too huge with it, but now when we look in, if nothing happens, when we look at the starting point for our next budget cycle, it's the starting point minus the relief, property tax relief that we had and minus the special ed reimbursement. So
Right.
now, if they come back and say, hey, we upped it, they're
upped it
gonna
from
work,
last year.
they're gonna work off of last year's
Yeah.
numbers, not this compromise numbers.
And
So that's the piece.
Alan,
for me
that's the structural deficit. That's what they're being talked about. They're not lying about it, and it is politics. We need to elect people who commit to collaboration.
So,
Well, and passing this bill did not mean that they would not be able to come up with and work at the same time on a authentic, sustainable pre-K-12
Yeah.
system for Wisconsin. And the true losers in this are taxpayers and
And
kids.
children.
Yep. And we might be able to say the democratic process in terms of an unwillingness to compromise, so. All right, personnel. The Personnel Committee met on May 11th. It was a rather full meeting. During that time, we received an update on the district scorecard as it relates to the goals connected to the Director of Human Resources and Leadership Development. So just as a reminder, the scorecard is the tool that we use to keep track of our progress towards goals. We're not talking about the district report card. The good news that we heard is that the performance indicators are demonstrating that we're making good progress in achieving our goals regarding employee retention and job satisfaction, which all will impact the well-being of kids. So that's really important. After discussion, the committee recommends that the board approve the amendments to the 2026-27 important dates on the school calendar. The board did agree that we would move all of the late start dates at the high school to Mondays on a one-year pilot basis, and then we would come back and see how it would go for the next year. Nate provided us with a certified staffing update. We have a number of positions in the special education department to fill. That will be a challenge for the district. I know that Nate is doing everything he can to get the word out and attract really strong candidates to our district. The committee recommends that the board approve the 2026-27 support staff schedule, as well as the bus driver and teacher collective bargaining agreements. Those agreements that we will approve later on in the agenda were the result of negotiation sessions with both groups on April 23rd, and then a second meeting with teachers on May 7th. And then in closed session, the committee discussed the 2026-27 administrator and supervisor contracts, which will come back to us at a later date. Are there any questions about that? Well, then, I will move that we approve the amendments to the 2026-27 important dates calendar, and we will include the late starts on every Monday as a one-year pilot. Is there a second? Thank you, Allison. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. The motion is carried. Is there a motion to approve the 2026-27 hourly support staff salary schedule?
So moved.
Thank you, Bo. Is there a second? Thank you, Alan. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. The motion is carried. All right, we are going to move on to E, which is connected with personnel. And this is to approve the bus driver collective bargaining agreement. For reference, it's listed here that the per cell increase is 1.87 for cells number 1 through 9. For cell number 10, it's a 3.3% increase. The total base wage increase is 3.49 for steps 1 through 10. This agreement also includes a total salary increase of 3.6 for trip drivers, a 3.25 increase for the suburban drivers, and a 12% total salary increase for driver trainers, which was important because up until now we realized that there was a very little difference between what we were paying the bus drivers and then the people who were teaching them how to drive a bus, and it seemed appropriate to make an adjustment there. So, is there a motion to approve the 2026-27 bus driver collective bargaining agreement as presented? Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Lindsay. Any questions about this? All those in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. And then we have before us the 2026-27 teacher collective bargaining agreement. This includes an average total base wage increase of 2.63 for each step on the teacher ladder, and a total salary increase of 3.66, which includes an increase of 1 contracted day as we are moving toward having more days for our teachers to be present in the district. Is there a motion to approve the 2026-27 teacher collective bargaining agreement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Alan. Anything else on this?
I will be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you. So we will have 1 abstention. It was a good process. It's a really good process to have the collaborative, respectful conversation with both our bus driver groups and our teacher groups. All right, all those in favor? Aye. So that passes at a margin of 6 yeses and 1 abstention. Okay, before us tonight is the second reading of the new school board policy 363.51, non-school issued personal communication devices, as well as the Neola policy 5136. It's exactly the same, policy, but by law, we need to have this in place before we are likely to have Neola in place. So we need to get this done now, and then we'll turn over to the Neola policy version when we flip that big switch. So is there a motion to approve the second reading?
So moved.
Thank you, Lindsay. A second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Monica. Any discussion about this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Ellen, Educational Program Committee update.
Yes. We met on May 4th and had 2 items in front of us. One was the approval of the new math curriculum resource. And it was a really good presentation and a very good conversation. This was a real team effort. And it was led by Amy and Mary Beth, and to get everybody on board with a new math curriculum is a challenge in and of itself. To wade through all the various options of math curricula that are available to us is a challenge. And then to get everybody on board, and then to figure out how we're going to implement that and get all the rest of the staff on board. And we talked through all of that. Lots of cooperation, collaboration involved in this. A lot of excitement and optimism about how this might take place, and thought it was a very, very good discussion. Amy, any additional comments or things you want to say?
I think the most powerful part of that discussion was what the teachers had to say about their feelings and their experiences in the pilot, and I think that's the confidence to move forward with this resource.
One of the nice things about having a group like that in front of us is we really get to see and get to know some of the key players in our teaching staff, and these folks are very dedicated professionals, and they know how to work together for the best interest of kids out there. So it escapes me, but what's the name of our?
Amplified Desmos.
Amplified Desmos.
It is known as ADM, not to be confused with EDM. So we keep telling, we're going to call it Amplify for a while until we're.
So the first big heavy lift on this is adopting it and agreeing on it. Second heavy lift is implementing it, and then the third thing is we need to watch it work.
Yes.
And there have to be results. So I think so there's no question on any of us. The number 3 thing is very important for us. So we will be watching to see how does this play out. Just like we had a conversation about reading here a little bit ago, math is that other part that's just so absolutely critical that if our students miss it at any point in there.
And I think it's important, and it's on our teachers' minds, as Rachel mentioned, teachers even speaking out as math being, part of that WIG. So it's sort of that, the unspoken WIG goal.
Although there's going to be a challenge, it's got to be easier with the buy-in that we've got at this point. So, anyway, so I will move the adoption of that new math curriculum.
Was there a second?
I'll second.
Monica? It was also the presentation and then the process that led up to tonight to the board approving this was a pretty impressive process. And it demonstrates how systematic the curriculum review cycle is that you two have established for the district, and how it results then in making decisions about curriculum. So thank you. We could see it come to fruition.
We really appreciate your leadership, the two of you. It was obvious from the conversation here that you two had played a significant role in that, so appreciate that.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried.
The second item that we had was an update from Jennifer Ames, and talking about her dual role in the community education program and the fact that she's our district's communication officer as well, and just what they've been doing in terms of everything from website to promoting things that are going on campus, or excuse me, in our school district, and also the community ed offerings and some of the successes we've had. We had an update on, we don't call it the daddy-daughter dance. Sweetheart dance that happened recently, and how popular that is in the community. So it was really good, and that operation is really to be commended. They do a very good job. So that was just an update. We don't need approval on that.
And we learned that whoever Kit has lunch with, that those make really big posts.
popular.
Popular posts, yeah.
KSD lunch.
All right. Are there any proposed items for future meeting agendas? Then we're going to schedule our upcoming meetings. So the Policy Ad Hoc Committee will meet Monday, June 1st at 6 o'clock. Educational Program Committee will meet Monday, June 8th at 6. Finance and Facilities will meet Monday, June 8th at 7, or immediately following Educational Program. It will be a triple header, so Personnel will meet on Monday, June 8th at 8 o'clock, or immediately following Finance and Facilities. The next regular school board meeting will be Monday, June 15th at 6. There will be a special school board meeting on Monday, June 22nd at 6 o'clock. The school board retreat is scheduled for Monday, July 20th at 4 o'clock. All of those meetings will be held here in the district office. And at this point, I would like a motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985-1C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Specifically, we are going to discuss the superintendent's evaluation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Monica. A second. Thank you, Lindsay. I will need a roll call. Monica?
Yes.
Bo? Allison?
Yes.
Lindsay? Mike?
Yes.
I'm saying yes.
Yes.
Ellen? All right, we're in closed session. Thanks, everybody, for being here with us.